Hey there, young historians. It is November 25th, 2020. It is a Wednesday, but hey, tomorrow is Turkey Day. The next day is shopping day. That means there's no school for the next 4 days. You know what that means? Today's basically a Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Boom! All right, so today is November 25th. This is a large fist emoji, if you've never seen one of those up close. On this day in history, back in 1783, the last British soldiers finally left New York after the Treaty of Paris ended the Revolutionary War. That Treaty of Paris actually happened in September. A month and a half later, there were still British soldiers occupying New York City, and finally, they left at the end of the Revolutionary War. Let's jump ahead a couple of centuries here to 1963. This story continues. On this past Sunday, we saw the President John F. Kennedy was assassinated while riding in his motorcade in Dallas, Texas. Then 2 days later, which would have been Tuesday, was the anniversary, his assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, was assassinated by someone else, Jack Ruby. And now we are going forward one more day to today, the anniversary of John F. Kennedy being buried at Arlington National Cemetery. Here you can see the procession, the funeral procession of his casket being pulled by the white horses from Washington, D.C., across the river over to Virginia to the Arlington National Cemetery. Here's where his body lies, beneath what is called the Eternal Flame. His wife, Jackie Onassis Kennedy, is also buried there. So if you have ever been interested in traveling to Washington, D.C. and going to Arlington National Cemetery, good news. I go there almost every year. I would love for you to join me in June of 2022. You'll find out more information about that, so stay tuned if you're interested in traveling to Washington, D.C. Today we've got some birthdays. Happy birthday to Andrew Carnegie. He was born in 1835. Andrew Carnegie is Scottish, but he immigrated to the United States and became one of the richest humans ever, multi-billionaire. He made his money in steel. He was the founder of U.S. Steel. In 1904, Lillian Copeland was born. You might not have heard of her. She was a great Olympian for the United States. She won Olympic gold in the discus back in 1936. In 1914, Jumpin' Joe DiMaggio was born, the Yankee great. 1914, he, a baseball player, by the way. He played in 9 World Series, and he holds a record that still has not been broken. He had a hit in 56 straight games. That record stands and will stand for a long time. In 1960, ironically enough, John F. Kennedy Jr. was born on this day. So he was just 3 years old when his father, John F. Kennedy, was assassinated. And then on this day, his three-year-old birthday, he was seen saluting his father as his father's funeral procession went by. Pretty heartbreaking image there of John F. Kennedy Jr., his sister and his parents, his mother and his uncles are there as well in that image. So the irony of his birthday being on the same day that his father was buried. Also tragically, John F. Kennedy Jr. only lived to 39 years old. He died 21 years ago in a plane crash. Otherwise, he'd be 70 years old. So a lot of tragedy has happened to that family. 5 years later, Cris Carter was born, the Vikings great. Hall of Famer, 8-time Pro Bowl. He's 55 today. Happy birthday to Cris Carter, CC, as he's known. And in 1981, Barbara and Jenna Bush were born, the twin daughters of President George W. Bush. There he is right there, and his wife. And then his 2 twin daughters, that's redundant, but his twin daughters were born in 1981. They'd be 39 years old today, so happy birthday to both of them. And today, your key word is not thankful, not quite, but it is gratitude. Today's key word is gratitude. It basically means thankful. So in this time of giving thanks, make sure that you tell some people today and tomorrow that you are thankful, show your gratitude. Okay, so the topic of today is families, communities, and free time. This is for African Americans in the mid-1800s, and really it is what the family and communities were like for enslaved people. Now it seems like, well, how did they have much family? They really legally didn't have family, but still, people were born to the same family. So they still built community. They still had lots of lessons to teach their children. And there also, believe it or not, there was some free time. It's also known as leisure time. There was some free time for enslaved people. It was pretty much just once a week on Sundays. So that's what you're going to be finding out today is what the families, communities, and free time was like for African Americans in the mid 1800s. Okay, so that is your plan for today. Make sure you show gratitude. I'm thankful for you. It is good to be still somewhat working with you in this way here. Good luck and take care. Peace.